let's go with Nancy first. Nancy from Nevada, you're live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Well, hi, Dan and Tim. Not familiar at all with Tim. You have a Christian guest on today?
I know, Nancy. I know. It's been a minute. We used to do this. We did this a little bit more, but yes, Tim's a cool guy. So, he's got a seat at the table.
Oh, I was watching the wrong show.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's see what he says to your call here, because you said you want to know how to talk to somebody who claims to have been faith healed.
Not exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to work with the delay. I belong to a discussion group with people of diverse religious viewpoints, and we've started inviting guests. There's a guest who's been invited who has gone, I don't know if I want to say the name of the country, that he went to do missionary work. And according to the person who invited him, the missionary claims to have seen firsthand 2 incidents of faith healing.
Okay. Yeah.
Haven't talked to this guy yet.
Yeah. And is it just like, their limbs grew back, or what's the claim here? What are they saying happened?
According to Michael, the claim is one was a deformed hand that was healed. The other was what sounds like cataracts.
Okay.
He said roomy eyes. Yeah.
When I was a Christian, I remember a girl from my college group coming back. She just went to, I can't remember exactly where, somewhere in South America. And she had made the claim that, somebody was able to get their back fixed from a faith healer and stuff. And it's funny how the faith healer stories seem to happen on mission trips. There's a lot to be said about, mission trips in general. I'm really curious, Tim, on your take. Are you pro mission trip? I want to know this now, because that's going to affect.
Overall, no, they are colonizing missions at this point.
We're on the same page there. Great. Fantastic. So when we talk about faith healers, what's your take on this, Tim? You pro faith healer?
Sorry. Well, is that Nancy's question? I don't want to
Nancy,
her question.
I think Nancy wants to know how to talk to somebody who claims they had a faith healing experience, right? Because I think you would agree that there's definitely shysters, right? Yeah.
I can't hear Tim's audio at all.
Oh, okay. We'll see if we can fix that with the crew here. We got a couple different things happening here tonight. But yeah, let's while they're
it's demonic oppression, bro. You brought the heretic in here.
Let's talk about that though, Tim. Do you think that faith healings happen in the modern day? Obviously they are depicted in the Bible, and I don't know if you literally believe that they happen then or not. But do you think that something like a deformed limb growing back? Do you think that happens right now?
Okay, I'm gonna be one thing I don't do with anyone is I don't bullshit people. I don't play to audiences to make them feel comfortable, and they can take it or leave it. Here's how I view this. Overall, the faith healing, mainly out of the charismatic Pentecostal movement, I find overwhelmingly garbage, trash.
Okay.
For sure. However, and this is very important, okay, it's very important to me that I don't become a European colonizer again by telling other cultures and people groups how they've experienced their own understanding of spirits, the world, and healing. Meaning, if someone is overseas in some other country where the whole paradigm is so different and they see something that they believe really happened, I don't make it a point to be like, well, let me just prove it to you. I go, hey, that sounds like a really powerful experience. I just kind of hold space for it,
Okay.
What am I going to do? Say, sorry, even though I wasn't there, let me tell you why you're freaking wrong. Because my Western intellectual, enlightenment view has to definitely supersede yours. We can repeat supremacist ideas all over again sometimes, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more about holding space for people where I just say, wow, it sounds like a really powerful experience. How did it make you feel? Did it change you in any kind of way? And I just kind of look for those moments, because I have found in my experience, if someone really believes something has happened, especially like that, you're not going to convince them out of it by trying to give them what you think is logic and facts and data. They're just, you kind of become a wet blanket. And I'm very pragmatic in how do I, maintain the relationship with that person to still maintain a level of trust. So when that person maybe one day starts repeating Alex Jones talking points and I challenge them on that, I have buy-in with the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of think about it personally. But as far as as far as faith healing goes, or like your Benny Hinn's of the world, absolute charlatans, absolute garbage. Prosperity gospel theology is harmful. It is an ableist movement for sure. It is very much steeped in capitalism. So I'm very much against it. When it comes to individual experiences of something that they can't explain, I'm not one to be like, well, let me tell you what actually happened and why you're wrong about that. That's just not that's not really my business.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because like you speak of Benny Hinn, I think that's a great example. Like if there's somebody that you know is like buying Benny Hinn's miracle water and stuff, right? And so like now it's not just like an experience, right? There's a financial incentive involved, and I know that you're aware of this, right? Where people can kind of buy into these systems. Sometimes that manifests in the form of like an MLM, right? Sometimes it's just a ministry that is just doing absolute garbage, right? Do you feel like there's something in you that wants to kind of stop that?
Oh, yes. I mean, when it comes to is someone being caused harm, right? I think it's a different kind of level, right? Again, going or hearing a story about someone being healed somewhere else, okay, like believe it or not, it doesn't really affect that person, right? It's not causing them harm to believe that. When they start giving money to someone like Benny Hinn because they're so desperate for a miracle, I mean, we have to keep in mind, people who give money to these people for miracle water or for prayer cloths, whatever, they are at the end of their rope. They are so freaking desperate for anything to happen that they're willing to give a person money in hope of a miracle, right? These are not people who are, in the best spot usually. So it's so exploitive what happens to them. And I feel like we have an obligation to say, let me help you here, right? Like this is so bad. This is such a bad path to go down, and hopefully giving them a better option. But yeah, I'm totally all in favor of that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Nancy, what do you think? Is this a situation where you feel like you have to intervene with this person that you know, or is this something that you feel like maybe you just let it go?
Okay, so the person was invited specifically to tell his story.
Okay.
But this is a group of people who are very respectful of each other. We don't try to get people to change the way they think. We don't want to, we don't bully anybody. This is a very respectful group of people who are having a conversation. But I have questions. And my first question is, did you actually see this, or did you hear it from somebody?
Sure. That's a good one.
All right. So then, was there any kind of medical documentation of the before and after?
Yeah.
And was it written up anywhere in the newspaper? Did anybody take a video of it? I want to verify that this person is not just telling a story.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I offer a thought on that?
Yeah.
Nancy, I first off, thanks for the question. I think it's really powerful and it's a really good question. Here's my bottom line, just very blunt advice. I would approach with curiosity, right? I think nothing wrong with asking questions. Ask the questions in good faith. Hey, wow, that sounds unbelievable. Tell me more, right? What? Well, wow. Okay. Now, listen, if for your own sake, you need to feel like you need verification, I totally get that. But I will tell you this, that I love that you're part of a group that's willing to hold space for people and just kind of let them say something, of course, within reason, without harming people, et cetera, but be able to share their belief or their experience with the group. And they go, wow, thank you for sharing. And they're open to maybe hearing more questions. I think maintaining that sense of, so-and-so, that's really powerful. Did you see it happen firsthand? Did someone tell you? Tell me more. I think we'll kind of lower that person's defenses as you kind of get more information out of them, where they know that you're not trying to attack them or belittle them. You're really curious and want to learn more. That approach has helped me in my life when it comes to talking to people that I think might be believing something that might be pretty dangerous. Instead of saying, here's why you're wrong, which usually tends to cut the conversation off, approaching with curiosity tends to keep the line of communication open to hopefully help maybe nudge them to think about things critically and plant some of those seeds.
Yeah, I think I echo some of that too, definitely. Like with this show in particular, I really like to build rapport with people that I'm talking to, right? I mean, I've talked to people who believe in flat earth on here, right? Like you guys have seen the show. I've talked to people who have wildly different ideas than what I have, right? So it turns out when you just say, oh, that's bullshit, and you're wrong, 99% of the time, it just doesn't work with people's beliefs, right? People have lots of psychological mechanisms that keep them in place for what they have. But one of the things I think that you can implant at least a seed of doubt, or at least a seed of hey, maybe I should look into this more, right? Because, I mean, if faith healing is real, I think we need to have some, I think you're right. I think you're like, yeah, we need to have some good stuff for this. I'm not just going to believe some guy that said, yeah, my toes grew back the other day. Like, okay, sure, you know, I would want to do the same thing as you, right? Find that documentation or whatever. But that's because you and me, Nancy, probably have a different epistemology from other kinds of people, right? We are interested in verification. We're interested in knowing. We may trust the sciences as something that can give us an idea of truth. And not everybody has that same epistemology, which is one of the reasons why I advocate for street epistemology, right? This idea of exploring people's beliefs, not just for the sake of, I don't know, content or whatever, just like what's the root of it, right? Like, a lot of my Christianity, for example, came from the culture that I grew up in. But you don't just go to somebody on the street and say, oh, you're just a Christian because you grew up in America, right? Like that. No, there's a lot of complex interplays here. So I would encourage you, again, don't leave it to just one thing if you're talking to somebody. Don't, and maybe to Tim's point as well, right? Like, hammering it down maybe isn't the best, but I think building a relationship with that person, at least as a start, or regardless of where you go, is probably the right move. So I don't know. That's us talking for a long time, Nancy. What do you think?
I think that was helpful. I'm the only atheist in this group, but there's agnostics, mystics, Buddhists. I shouldn't say plural. Two Christians and one person who doesn't actually say, but he's very curious.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel, being the only atheist in that group?
Fascinating.
Yeah? Is it it's fascinating for you?
They welcomed me.
Oh, that's good.
They welcomed me.
Wonderful.
They were like, good. We need another way of looking at things.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, awesome.
Yeah, it's a great group.
Yeah, sounds like you got a great group going on. Well, Nancy, I'm going to go talk to some other callers here, but I appreciate you calling in. That was a great little topic there. So thanks again for
Thanks, Nancy.
Giving us something to talk about.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, have a great rest of your evening.
All right.